Did you know the happiest, most connected couples aren't the ones who never struggle? They're the ones doing 4 specific things almost 3 times more than everyone else. Today, we're going to show you exactly how to deepen your roots as a couple so your marriage doesn't just survive the seasons of life, it grows stronger through every one of them.
Welcome to Bringing Hope Home. We're Bryce and Colette Schaffer, and we're on a mission to bring God's hope, healing, and practical strategies right into your living room.
Welcome back, everybody, to Bringing Hope Home. We're your hosts, Bryce and Colette Schaffer.
Yeah.
We're glad to be with you again on another week, and we're so glad you tune in to deepen your relationship with your spouse, in your family, and with the Lord.
Yeah, let us know you're here. You can like, comment, do all the things.
Yeah.
Subscribe if you're watching on YouTube. You can hit subscribe
so you
or
don't
on any of the
miss
things.
an episode. Yeah. Tell us you're out there for sure. I think that's
very encouraging.
It is really encouraging to know that you're out there and that you pay attention to this and that it's bringing you hope and help, right? That's what we want. That's why we do this and take the time. So this week we're going to talk about deepening your roots as a married couple. What a fun one.
Yeah.
I mean, we always want, the world wants to disconnect you as a couple. Mm-hmm. And so you have to fight the good fight, not in a faith, but in a marriage. Fight that fight to keep together, to deepening your roots. And you know what? We change over time. I am so glad I am not the same person you married 31 years ago.
I'm glad I'm not the same person.
And because of that, we have to continually evolve and help connect and reconnect and deepen those roots that we have with each other, so we don't look back and say, I don't know myself or you.
I think so often we kind of have that happily ever after mentality. We get, married, and the wedding, we do all this planning for the wedding, and then it's just supposed to happen.
Yeah, that happily ever after kind of thought that you had.
And unfortunately, it doesn't work that way.
Right. Or you say, well, you're not the same person I married. Well, that's probably, hopefully, a good thing.
Hopefully a good thing.
I mean,
I hope I'm not the same as the 18-year-old. Yes, I was 18 when we got married.
You did say it on air.
I did.
Yeah. But you did it right.
Far from then, but yeah.
Yeah, so I think it's good to change and to evolve, but because of that, you're having different roots. You're changing. And so we need to continue to stay connected. And flourishing marriages are made, they're not found. They're not just, they don't just happen by circumstance. It's like the Big Bang. It just didn't happen, and then it just stayed happening. You have to work at it, and you need to be intentional about it. We found some research, which I thought was pretty cool in there. It was called the Wheatley Institute. It's off of BYU in their university. And so there was a study done back in 2024 on families. And so let's go through some of those. They're kind of fun. Yeah. And what they looked at was high connecting couples and lower connecting couples. And then they had some areas that they were looking for.
So define, though, connecting. What does it mean?
So, to connected families, one that found a husband and wife working together as a team, feeling like they were on the same page, that they loved each other, they were pulling for each other, and going in the same direction in life. And so let's look at some of those. They were looking at actions that were ongoing in their relationship that strengthened their bond between each other. So again, deepening their roots. So they looked at 4 different things, and first one was time together. So that makes a lot of sense to me.
Yeah. If
the more time
connected, you need time together.
You need time. And so the high connecting couples spent an average of 71% of their time together. Doesn't mean you can't spend time apart. And the other is 19%. Another one was acts of kindness. They were up to 72% of high connecting couples were always connecting through kindness, as compared to 18%
of low connecting.
Another one was big. I thought this was really neat. Forgiving offenses. Ooh, how many times do we not forgive each other, ourselves, You know, and so we're kind of trained not to forgive in the worldly system, but we need to learn to forgive. It doesn't mean we forget, but we forgive and we give them grace, and especially our spouse and our family. But they were up to 70% of high connecting couples as compared to 21%. And then relationship maintenance. It took 53% do that for high connecting couples and only 30% of low connecting couples. And relationship maintenance, that could be a date night, that could be time away, but whatever it is reconnecting maintenance. And maintenance means working on it together, tinkering with the relationship.
And there will always be maintenance. There's always
Amen.
things to tinker and to strengthen. You know, just like driving down the highway, you don't just, you know, keep your hands in the same position, just go.
Right.
You got to make little, even if it's a straight highway, you're constantly making little adjustments for the wind, for whatever. And so you have to do that same thing in marriage.
Right.
Constantly be, you know, looking at your schedules, looking at your life, your business, your whatever, and making little adjustments along the way.
Right. If not, you're going to crash.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was good. And then there's virtues, marital virtues that they were looking at, and what came up in their study on high connecting couples, low connecting couples. They had 3 thoughts on that one. Commitment to each other. The first one, the high connecting couples, they had 72% were right at commitment to each other as compared to 26%. Other-centeredness, and so is 60%. And so others, I'm more concerned about you and your well-being, and where you're going is 60% as compared to 21%. And compassion is 56% compared to 18%. So each one of those in this last marital virtues talk about almost tripling their intentionality to each other. And that's what we need to remember to do, is be that intentional person. Now again, how you define your roles in marriage and your life together, you can choose to do that, right? I mean, that's what you get to do. That's the fun part of finding a helpmate and getting married.
You can listen to last week's podcast on the roles, biblical roles of marriage.
Yep. And so what makes you tick is certainly important, but we're not here to tell you how to do it, but what you need to look for in doing a healthy and growing a healthy marriage in your life, and then hopefully deepening those roots so you are so connected to each other, and you don't wake up one day just thinking, man, I don't know if I missed it here. So, you know, because we're all going to run into obstacles, we're all going to run into roadblocks. How do we help support each other? Isn't that the neatest thing, when we run into those kind of obstacles and roadblocks, that we have somebody by our side, not tearing us down, but building us up, helping us through those, giving us hope, giving us help, and healing our hearts as we go through life. I mean, that's what we're here to do together. So I'm excited about you guys and deepening your roots together. I think the first thing, you know, as we, you know, start looking at what we want to talk about a little bit and how to deepen your roots, I think the first one is always kind of the given in our podcast, which is become Christ-like yourself.
Yeah.
Right? You know, we are, Ephesians 2:20, we are to be Christ-centered. And when you have him as your center and everything else revolves around him, great things are in store. You know, and you both need to have that, not just one of you. You know, I was really encouraged when we went and visited our oldest son out in LA this summer, because we went to church with him, and to see all the males without the females around, I thought that was great. It looked like single men or husbands that were just there by themselves. Was a guy sitting next to me. It was wonderful. It just did my heart well that there were all these guys connecting to God without being drugged to church, right?
Yeah.
And so I think that Christ-centeredness really helps a relationship, any relationship that you have, but especially a marriage.
Yeah. Yeah. Faith makes the difference.
Yep. And so You definitely have to define how walking with Christ or in Christ means to each of you, but make sure both of you know that you're doing that.
That you're walking in Christ separately and together. That both of those need to be in place.
Another one is not only communicate, but positively communicate.
You can do a lot of communication that isn't positive.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
Slamming doors is a communication, but it's probably not
it's not healthy.
Not healthy.
It's not good. So the positive communication, a lot of us, I'm very much a one-liner sarcastic person by nature a little bit. And so I get a lot of times a little zingers here and there. But I've learned that with my spouse, those one-liner zingers, right? My wife, if you're not watching on YouTube, you just know she's smirking at me because it's true, isn't it?
It is true.
And so, but a lot of times I've found over my years of marriage that they're communicating something, but they're usually not at least taken as positive communication.
Right.
Even though sometimes I might mean it in jest and in loving.
And we did get married young, and so I would just kind of take it and not say much about it and just be irritated. And then I don't know how it went in the marriage, but I finally said,
She did.
Enough is enough.
Yeah, I remember. I don't remember the day, but I remember it happening. Positive communication. And, each person, like I said, communicates differently. And I did that. And I would find myself being more sarcastic the more I was trying to hold back some of my thoughts and disagreements. But, so it wasn't helping. It was like a tea kettle that was just waiting, boiling, and then all of a sudden, boom, and it would come out in this sarcastically, So anyway.
So if you're wanting to communicate,
right, that's where we're going.
You want to find how your spouse best communicates, right?
Right, and then do it with a positive tone, positive manner.
Yeah.
Help each other out. But communication is key, and how you work through differences and likes and dislikes, will definitely deepen your marriage.
The next thing is really big is cultivating moments to spend time together.
Yeah, we saw that in that report.
Yeah, just spending time together and to mix it up a little bit. It doesn't have to be the same old. Say, well, yeah, we spend time, we're in front of the TV and
we have time going to the kids' ball games.
Yeah, we're together. Well, yes, you are together in space, but, think of ways to be together where you're connecting. Maybe it's taking a walk after a meal or, sit on the couch after dinner, but without the TV. Maybe you're playing a game
or your phones,
or something, but finding ways to actually connect. And by connect means talking to see each other, talk about what's been going on in your day,
review what's coming up, what's got you, going through your head.
Yeah, talk.
Yep. So cultivate those moments. Spending time together is certainly part of that key to deepening your relationship. Keep everything as a shared responsibility. Keep everything functioning as a team. That is my last time. The last time I talked to somebody in a marriage counseling situation, and I call it marriage enrichment. Before I marry somebody, the last session I have with you is always talking about function as a team. Function together. Galatians 6:2, you need to come together and don't grow weary with this together. It's a we, not a me or a you. It's a we issues, and it's our situations. It's interesting.
And this doesn't have to be like equal straight down the
it doesn't
line.
Are you serious? No, I'm just kidding. Yeah.
That's
the way I was raised with my siblings is to be equal down the middle.
Right. But I like listening to I don't know if you'll know dad chats and mom chats. I forget their names. I know his name is Dylan. Anyway, she was on there and talking about kind of the equality. And she said, I was having a really stressful time. And you know what my husband did? He didn't put me down. He just did the thing. He did whatever it was that was going to help her.
Amen.
Whether it was doing the dishes or she was struggling with something, I don't know, what it was. It was simple. But he simply just figured out how to make her life easier and to take that load and to share some of that load. And so it's not about the individual jobs per se, but it's about looking at each other and saying, hey, how can I help? I see you're stressed. And just not even knowing each other so well that you don't even have to ask, but you can just pick it up and do it.
Mm-hmm.
If he sees that I'm overwhelmed or whatever, I don't even have to ask would you help clean the house? We have people coming and I have this whole list to do. Maybe I do need to communicate that, but more than not, you're just going to pick up the pieces and do it. And so it's being in tune with each other that you want to just help carry the load.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I remember when you were going back to school and getting your college degree, and you had a paper in a class just fall apart on you, and it wasn't your fault.
Mm-hmm.
You remember that?
It was a group project.
It was a group project, and one of your group members decided not to pull their weight, and it was like 70%. Yeah, and it was 70% of your grade. So if you failed that portion, you were failing it all. Mm-hmm. And I remember I didn't have to say a word, and you had other finals and other things going on, and we had a home with 3 little ones, and we just went into survival mode together. I remember you studying for other tests, and I hope none of your professors are listening, but I started writing your paper, rewriting the paper for you, and it had to be like a 12 to 18 page paper. I mean, it was ridiculous. It was a lot. But I remember just thinking, okay, and we weren't upset, we weren't angry, we were just like ultra focused as a team. And I really think back at that and thought, boy, doing this together.
Which I did tell the professor my husband did help because I had other things.
Well, there you go. Okay, so maybe he did know a little bit, but I could have said that's on you, that's you. And what I'm going where I'm going with this is that was her degree, that's her life, that's her problem. Mm-hmm. No, it's our problem. Again, it's a we, not a me or a you. Mm-hmm. And we're going to find a way through this. And boy, it kind of strengthened us. And when she walked past, graduation later in a year later, it was a we thing, not a you thing.
Definitely a whole family
thing. Oh my goodness. So, these sharing responsibilities, I'm not saying cheat for each other. No. But I am saying just share in this team goals of marriage. And boy, does that strengthen the roots that you have.
It means so much just when your spouse recognizes. Mm-hmm. And that's what this gal was saying. To have my husband recognize that I was stressed and recognize that I was overwhelmed and just pick up the pieces does more for a marriage than anything.
Amen. Right. Okay, so another one that you can look at to strengthen and deepen your roots is how are you expressing your physical intimacy? Mm-hmm. You don't have to be a cold fish. I just don't do it. The old saying goes. So, are you on the same page? Are you talking? And again, different stages of life require different stages of intimacy. Mm-hmm. And what is going on? I knew every year, my wife was a music teacher at the school, and I knew every year, come December, all the concerts, the physical intimacy and focus on me was going to be way less. Mm-hmm. And at the first couple of years, and I'm saying this, I'm telling on myself because at first I was pretty selfish. Those first couple of years, you did it for quite a number of years, and I'm a little slow, but I'll tell you this, people. I figured out after a while, if I just helped her, again, get under her mission and what she has to do and not worry about me and my needs, and this is that physical, and she's not caring about me and my little, trying to be playful and stuff wasn't working, I just let that all go after a while, a couple of years into this. It took me, I wish I was a little smarter, but I let it go, and boy, everything got better.
Yeah.
Really quick. When I had the right mindset and understanding the situation, being on the same page, and not demanding and expecting and those kind of things. So, how do you, understand seasons, make sure you do that. Make time for each other outside the bedroom is huge. And how you express yourself, is different. Treat each other together with a different spark to it than with other people. I think that just makes it a lot more fun when you have that spark with each other. Make that spark outside of the house is key. So that just remember how you express that physical intimacy will deepen your roots.
Right. Next one is be balanced in your need for personal space and growth. For your couple, space and growth, and being community minded. We all have our own journey to growth that we are on. So together or individually and together. And so we need to be mindful of that we are both growing and we are both growing together. So to allow each other to grow separately as well.
But as you grow, you don't want to grow so far independently that you grow apart. But that's why you continue to work together in that and cheer each other on. And again, where you can connect to, and where I'm going with this kind of thought, and where Colette is thinking too, is that nurturing your community, fostering togetherness within like a church body. One of the greatest places is find a church and you both plug in
together.
And you grow together spiritually, and then you serve together spiritually. Don't just let your wife do the kids. You go help with the kids program, or you're on for traffic team or something. But just know that as you work together in opportunities, you receive support together. And I'll tell you what, it is fun to serve together as a couple.
We wouldn't have survived if we didn't do ministry together.
Right. That's true. But, I remember one of your giftings is music, and I wasn't going to take that away from you, right? And I could have said, well, how am I supposed to get the kids ready for church? Well, we found a way, meaning we would probably plan their outfits the night before, because if we didn't, what happened, Colette?
There's a couple times that you got our kids dressed, and that was...
You would say something when we got to church. So why did you put them in those clothes? I don't know. It's what we had. That's what I saw. I thought it looked good together. It worked. Obviously not. But I'm saying is, I didn't let that stress of me dealing with the kids all alone, because you had to be there an hour plus earlier than I did. That didn't stop you from serving. And in doing that, we were serving together. So even in that way, it was building you up and your gifts, but me supporting that. And it's pretty fun. But do that in church and foster those values together, as a couple. And I think too, as you deepen your roots as a couple, just remember your level of friendship to each other. I think sometimes marriages forget that you're supposed to be each other's best friend.
Yeah.
That's what hopefully got you connected in the first place, was the friendship. If it wasn't, find that friendship. Find that camaraderie.
Those things that you like to do together.
Yeah, because that's going to help thrive you and move you forward in a great way. So you can deal with those things of life.
If you're in a marriage that you have drifted far from this, pick one or two things that you just are going to focus on. And it can be small little adjustments make big progress in your marriage. So finding those little things, pray and ask God, what are the things that I can do? Where what's the first thing I need to do to deepen our relationship? Talk to each other.
Right.
Say if I've been distanced, or how would you rate our marriage? How do you rate how I have shown up in this marriage for us?
Yeah.
And have that honest relationship without name calling, without blaming, without all of those things. But, you can say, one thing I could have more of is this.
Yeah, I'm needing this. Yeah, I agree. And then going back to those areas that institute, that study showed, time together, acts of kindness, forgiveness, maintenance. Rate yourself and each other on those, or not each other really, but yourself, and that the virtues, the commitment, the other-centeredness, and the compassion. Have you had compassion upon each other? Are you committed to one another and what they value and where they're headed, right? So when you do that, it's going to deepen your roots, as we're talking about today, in your marriage, which will strengthen your family.
And that will go through the seasons of your marriage, because your marriage will go through many different seasons. Like we said, we are not the same people that we were when we were first married. Again, I was a little 18-year-old, and so I've gone through many seasons, as have you. And so to keep adjusting and keep growing, and keep deepening our roots as we go through life together.
Amen.
So,
all right. Well,
yeah, thanks for being with us. Again, comment, like, subscribe, all of those fun things that keeps
needful things in our
that keeps the algorithm going and giving it to more people. So just lets the platforms know, hey, people are wanting to listen to this, so they push it out there. So that's why we say like, subscribe, all the stuff.
Share it.
So, all right. Well, until next time, bring hope home to your life today.